What's up, guys? We're back, joined by my good friend Greg Gabriel. Bills game was last Sunday. We've had a little bit of time to digest that one, and we play the Chiefs tonight. Starters will play. I expect Braxton Jones to start at left tackle, but it's game day. This one's going to be big. The Chiefs are playing their starters here, so this is going to be fun. Greg, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I honestly, I watched Andy Reid's teams for years, work for one. I don't think he's going to play his starters that long, probably a couple series.
Yeah.
And I don't expect Ben to play the starters more than that. The most important thing right now is they're as ready as they're going to be, is keep them healthy.
Yeah.
For week one, you can't afford to get anybody get hurt. You got guys dinged up now, nothing really serious. D-Rob and Booker are hurt. They probably won't play because they haven't practiced all week. But my honest feeling is if they felt they were hurt seriously and somebody was going to miss a game, they would have signed somebody, and they didn't. And they would have signed somebody this week. They wouldn't wait till next week.
Yeah.
So I think that alone speaks a lot about what the health is. They got a couple new running backs. The guy who played last week, Brown, another guy, Freeman.
Royce Freeman, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to probably play tonight too because, Manon guy and Roshan are dinged up, but not dinged up enough to miss the first game. So you want to give the carries to somebody and let those guys do it.
Yeah, and Deion Hankins
it's really the easiest position. It's the easiest position to for a guy to come in and pick up the offense.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, running backs one, you give them the ball. Hopefully in pass blocking situations, you hope guys can pass block a little bit, but you don't even have to put them out there in those situations. If you have a guy like Ian Wheeler looked pretty good last week. He's had a disappointing training camp from what I've seen, but he looked good in his preseason action.
Yeah, I think they've been pushing him in camp because they know the talent that he has. Plus, he's coming off an ACL. Actually, when you look at it, he's 11 months out of having ACL surgery, and he really hasn't missed a day of camp. So, and that goes back, a month now. So he's really doing pretty good.
Yeah, he's gotten better as it went on.
He's probably still not quite 100%. I think he's in the battle for the fourth running back spot. If he can play teams, then he's going to probably end up getting it.
Time out. Oh, my phone rang, but then it went off. I don't know where it is. But yeah, that's the thing with Ian Wheeler. And you can even go back through my time watching the NFL. Running backs, anytime they tear an ACL, usually it's 2 years before they're actually back to 100% and where they were before injury. Some guys usually they can come back in a year and play, but they're usually not 100% quite yet, maybe 80 to 90%, but that's what you're hoping for from Ian Wheeler. And he looked pretty good.
The thing is that with the surgical techniques, they keep improving and guys come back faster. So, and a lot of it has to do with how hard he attacked rehab. And by watching him move, and I don't know if he's quite as fast as he was, but he has the quickness and he has the burst. So, in order to be where he's at right now, he had to really work his butt off to get to this point. So I think hats off to him for doing the hard work in rehab because that isn't easy.
Yeah, and to me, he's looked good. I mean, and he's a guy, he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He has that home run speed. He's a guy that Ben Johnson could really like and could fit this offense. But right now our running back room, and this is where it gets tough if you're going to add another guy. And our running back room is pretty stacked right now because I believe our three guys that are making the roster, Kyle Monungai, Roshan Johnson, and DeAndre Swift, they're all live.
No question. Yep.
Yeah, and then if you're keeping,
then there's a fourth guy, and that fourth guy has got to be a teams player,
special teams guy. Yeah, that's either going to be Travis Homer or Ian Wheeler. So
that's right.
really what Ian Wheeler is trying to beat out. And if you're bringing someone in that's going to take one of those roles above them, who are you going to cut? And so that's where, if it would have came where people talk about the Brian Robinson trade, where he did get traded today, 6th-round pick, you said, to the 49ers?
Yeah, 6th-round pick to the 49ers. 49ers gave a 6th round. He went to San Francisco. And San Francisco, McCaffrey's hurt, been dinged up. He wasn't close to being the same as he was before all those injuries last year. So and running backs, perfect. McCaffrey is a perfect example of why you're skeptical about giving second contracts to running backs. He got the huge second contract. He goes down, and what's he done since?
Yeah.
He had the first big year on that contract. After that, it's been, really nothing.
He hasn't been doing a lot. Yeah, that's the thing right now, is where running backs get hurt, and that's one of the reasons why teams like to draft them. You run them on their rookie contract, and I mean it's not the best thing for the position, but I mean you run them, and then when they go to get paid, usually let them go in free agency, and that was the model for a lot of teams, unless you get a special running back. You get an Emmitt Smith, a Dion, or a Barry Sanders, or a LaDainian Tomlinson. You get a guy like that, yeah, give him another contract, but you give him that contract probably when they're 24 to 26. You don't give them that contract at 28. I think the 49ers paid McCaffrey when he was 28 or 29. So that was a little later on that investment. That got him in some trouble there, and he's been hurt.
Well, now, and Henry, the big Baltimore back, he's gotten paid later, but he's a different breed. He's 250 pounds plus. And even he gets nicked up now.
He didn't have a lot of wear and tear his first couple of seasons in the NFL. He wasn't a full-time starter either. That could help him a little bit, but he's also missed some time due to injuries as well.
But it happens.
I will tell you,
fragile position.
With B-Rob now getting traded, there's one guy. I don't know if you studied this guy or not. I should have ran his name by you, but he's with the Seahawks. He was a 6th or 7th round pick. Damian Martinez. He was a big, kind of a bruising back out of Miami. Played with Cam Ward. The Seahawks roster is tough to make. They have Kenneth Walker. They have Zach Charbonnet, and they have a special teams guy as the third guy as well. So if they don't end up keeping 4 running backs, he's a guy I'd look out for. He had 50 yards and a touchdown, I believe, this last game in preseason. Do you know anything about Damian Martinez?
I haven't done anything.
Okay, I'm a fan of him. He's kind of he reminds me a little bit of David Montgomery. So if there's one guy that I would say to watch out for if he does get cut, that'd be my guy, Damian Martinez.
Even if they get cut, you got to look at the priority of the waiver claim. Bears are 9th in priority. They keep their draft pick area is the same for the first 3 weeks of the season, so they're 9th in the priority.
Yeah. And that's where J2K said it. I don't think Damian Martinez plays special teams, so it'd have to be a situation where you're bringing him in place of either Roschon Johnson or Kyle Monungai, and that's where it gets questionable. But I do like his talent. I am a fan of his. But with the Chiefs playing tonight, how long do you expect the Bears starters to play in this one?
2 series.
2 series? I was hoping for 1 quarter. I was hoping for a whole first
2
quarter.
series. If both teams get 2 series, that's your first quarter, unless they're 3 and out.
Yeah.
I was surprised that I thought after last week when they played good and they stomped all over Buffalo that was going to be it. And the only reason I think he's playing them is because Andy's playing his guys.
I think they talked about that. Maybe they wanted I thought after that first drive touchdown last week, they were going to leave the game as well, especially since the Bills starters weren't in. When Josh Allen and them didn't come out, they didn't have all their starters on defense. It was like, you know what? They're not playing their starters. We might as well get ours out of there. Because sometimes they
had some starters on the line on the offense. They didn't.
Yeah.
And obviously Cook had just signed his contract that week, and he hadn't been through. He'd been through 1 or 2 practices. He'd been a hold-in type guy, so he wasn't ready to play. Josh Allen's not playing this week. They're not playing him in the preseason. I don't blame him.
Yeah. But that's good. We do get to play against some starters here. And J2K made a really good point here. We're going to get to see how our defensive ends go against Josh Simmons, the left tackle of the Chiefs. I really like Josh Simmons. I was surprised he fell as far as he did. He was the last pick of the first round.
It's because of the medical.
It was that knee injury. He was the guy who he was the left tackle for Ohio State last year. He had that knee injury, ended his season. But I'm curious to see how he looks, especially compared to our left tackle situation, if he's out there shutting people down or not. So I am going to be keeping an eye on Josh Simmons. That's something that.
Well, the only thing is he still went the end of the first round, so they weren't going to get him anyway.
Well, we could have traded down, got extra picks.
He traded up.
Well, no, traded way down from 10. I mean, we could have.
Well, then you wouldn't have the guy they really wanted.
Yeah, true. But we could have had an extra first round pick maybe next year. There's all those possibilities. There's always possibilities in the draft. That's why I love the draft.
Yeah, but don't forget now, he goes at 31.
Mm-hmm.
Bears are picking at 10.
Oh, we also picked at 39. So I mean, look, you could have did a mixture there. You could have moved down from 10, picked up an extra pick, and then with that extra pick, moved up from 39. Still got a good play. There's a lot of things, man. What could have been? But I love how our
what
draft.
We don't know with him is what did the doctor say about the medical?
Yeah. If the Chiefs didn't take him at 31, do you think the Bears would have taken him at 39?
No, I think they took I was just tweeting some of the stuff before because I picked up some information. All this stuff about a running back, that was the Bears smoke screen, like going into the draft.
Really?
And remember a couple the day before the draft or 2 days before the draft, some guy tweets out, he goes, Bears got a deal in place to move up to take Genty.
Oh,
they never did,
guys.
And all this. They got the guy they wanted.
Yeah.
And if you notice,
I think if Genty was there, we might have taken him. I think.
I don't think they knew he wasn't going to be there.
I also think second round, if Travion Henderson was there,
I don't believe. Well, I know that for a fact that wasn't the case. They got the guy they wanted. They got Luther Burden.
Luther Burden. I mean, we could have taken Luther Burden and still got Travion at 41.
Yeah, but he was already gone. But so I mean, that's a moot point. So you could. That's a should have.
We're playing what if games now.
36.
Yeah, but I do think they would have taken the running back. Really didn't fall to us in the draft. Running backs kept going before we were.
Well, they had the one trade down. And then they made a second trade down later on. They were running back because I was watching it because I was, buying into the stuff too. And it's only recently that I found out differently that they didn't feel that, we got good guys. We're fine. And they had Monangai rated on their board a lot higher than which is the case with most draft boards. You rated on their board a lot higher than where they took them.
Yeah. Ty says, from the Ty and Smy podcast, welcome in here, buddy. He said he provided proof that the Bears tried to trade. I think what he's talking about is there was some kind of video in a draft room. I don't think it provided any proof that the Bears were trying to trade up for Henderson. It provided proof that the Bears were trying to trade up from 39 to 38 or go one spot up. Maybe they called the Patriots and maybe talked about it. I don't know if Ty, you want to provide exactly what happened there, but whenever it comes to trading up, they're only speculating about who they were trading up for. The Bears could have been scared, especially with the Patriots wide receiver room, that they were going to take Luther Burden because, I mean, their wide receiver room right now, they have a lot of guys. I mean, they got guys like Javon Walker or Javon Baker, Kayshawn Boutte, Demario Douglas. They got a guy, Kendrick Bourne. There's a lot of guys like that, and they added Stephon Diggs. But going long term, the Patriots,
Diggs
Diggs
was a question mark. You didn't know, how fast he was going to be able to come back. And now there's a guy who's ahead of the curve. He had an ACL too.
Yep. And when you look at needs there, the Bears have Luther comes in as our third wide receiver, fourth or fifth option on offense. With the Patriots, I think Luther would have been their number one wide receiver right away.
Now, did you hear the quote that Poles told some people? I think it was either earlier this week or the end of last week.
about
Luther
Luther Burden,
Burden.
that
Yeah.
they think he could be better than Rome and DJ.
Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah. He
That,
said
I
it
mean,
on the. He said,
when they
who was
make
it? Greg
this is
Olson said it on air. He said, "I
that's
don't
right,
think I'm supposed to say this. I might
but
get in trouble." And I was like, "Uh." I was like, "Is he letting something slip?" Anyone who didn't hear, we'll break it down for you real quick. Basically, during last week's Bills Bears game, Greg Olson, the former Bear tight end, he was the announcer for the game. He said he talked to Ryan Poles, and Ryan Poles said he thinks Luther Burden could be better than Rome Odunze or DJ Moore potentially. And I mean, that's not saying anything crazy. He's saying potentially because I think Rome Odunze is still the highest potential
ceiling.
guy in the group. Yeah, highest ceiling guy. But Luther's right there with him, and he's looked awesome in camp.
The point I'm trying to make, Swifty, is that this just didn't come about since camp opened. Because if you recall the beginning of camp, Luther missed all of OTAs because of a hammy or whatever it was. And then he got off to a slow start the first couple of weeks of camp. He was missing assignments, getting yelled at. Then he came on strong, and he's worked hard at it, which is a credit to him. But a lot of this stuff goes back. Poles' feelings go back to when they drafted him.
Mm-hmm.
They had that feeling back in April that this guy is going to be a special player.
And he is, man. I mean, he's a highlight reel machine. And what I've seen from him is he's really buying in. If you watch the preseason film, his blocking, oh my goodness, man. They're gonna be, you don't think Antoine Randall L is in the wide receiver room showing that and hyped up? You know how Antoine Randall L is. He's like, look at Luther. This is how you guys need to block. This is how you need
the
to
one block on the touchdown run. That's not like a block out on the perimeter. He comes inside.
Come in, crack blocks him, boom, smacks him too, knocks him 2-3 yards off the ball. Opened up a hole there. Whew. And he's also, I think he's the guy long term. I know right now, early on, and I think the reason for this is Ben Johnson didn't want to overwhelm Luther Burden. He wants him to earn his spot. So that's why a lot of the manufactured touches in the offense right now are going to DJ Moore. And you also see him using DJ Moore in the backfield, using DJ Moore as that X receiver. They even showed a little clip in camp where it was in that Ben Johnson mic'd up where he walked over and asked, is DJ going to be the X today or is he going to be the Z? And DJ wants to be the X. DJ, X. He's I'm the X. So, but we could see I could see Luther Burden morphing into that role sooner rather than later because he has the same skill set as DJ does.
Did you see the interview he did? Now I can't think of her damn name. With the girl who used to be on Good Morning Football.
Yeah. I saw the clips of it. I don't know if I watched.
Well, she asked him about she was in Detroit the day before she was here. So she said, the Lions are watching it. Said, yeah, he's running all our plays, and he just laughed. And he said, I'm running the same plays I ran in preseason 3 and 4 years ago.
Yeah.
In 22. So he goes, it's the exact same preseason playbook that we're using. In other words, it's just basic stuff.
Yeah. And it's not the real stuff. He called it at one point, I heard him say these are basically the throwaway plays. Like what he's using in the preseason. A lot of people are like, oh, he's using scripted plays. He said the plays weren't even scripted. They went out there. It's basically a throwaway playbook. It's just preseason stuff. It's stuff they don't use in the regular season, and still looked pretty good. Somebody
in the group chat you and I are in said, well, Caleb did a good job following the script. And I said, wait, there was no script.
Yeah, people just be saying
they don't do scripts in the preseason.
Yeah. I saw someone else. I had a couple of comments like that too, and they're like, Swift, Caleb, of course Caleb did good in his scripted plays against backups. And I was like, well, was against a lot of backups, but it wasn't scripted plays. They were just out there throwaway
plays.
Yep. And plays that cooked the Bills defense right down the field. Now the second drive, it looked like Darnell Wright might have missed a block on that free blitz. I don't know if you saw that one where Caleb ended up getting pressure right off the right side.
I don't know. I got to look at it again. I thought it might have been a back who missed it, but you may be right.
Yeah. But basically, Darnell goes over and he's double teaming with
Right.
Jonah Jackson right there on the right guard, and the guy runs right by him, and you see Darnell kind of looks at him, but he doesn't move. But it's
Oh, I
like,
remember on the play now. That was like a linebacker or a defensive back who was
yeah,
coming
yeah.
in.
Where
Yeah,
it's like,
that wouldn't have been Darnell's guy anyway.
okay, yeah. I felt like he could have stopped him though, but yeah, he was basically a free rusher. Caleb extended the play a little bit, threw it away. If it actually was a play that was almost completed, if Rome would have caught it, but yeah, tough one. What I'm expecting tonight is basically Chiefs to play. I'm hoping for 2 series, get that whole first quarter. But what are you expecting once the backups come in? Because I think Braxton Jones, when you're looking at left tackle, I think Braxton's going to start again. He actually looked pretty solid when I was looking at the tape of
Yeah,
him.
he played,
last
what
week.
was it, 12 snaps or 13 snaps.
Mm-hmm.
And he did play better than he played against Miami the week before. Benedict played good. And to be fair, so did Amagaji. Amagaji, very first play, and Amagaji played more snaps. He played like 30-something snaps.
He played towards the end of the game.
He played the whole second half. He played.
Yep.
So on his first snap, he doesn't give up a sack or anything, but he gets beat to the outside.
Yeah.
After that, clean game the rest of the day. And his run blocking wasn't good. His run blocking was outstanding. There was one play where he knocked the guy like 4 or 5 yards off the ball.
Yeah. And you like to see that from Amagaji because it was the first time we've gotten to see his tape at all. His first preseason action overall. He didn't play at all last year. He missed the first game against the Dolphins. So this was Amagaji's first time playing. Curious to see where he's at tonight. I'm curious to see if Ozzie is going to get any more snaps on the left side because I expect right now with Braxton being the lead at left tackle, it's Ozzie and Theo Benedict that are battling for that swing tackle role. And my thoughts right now is maybe they don't have a swing tackle. Maybe they think Theo's better on the left side and Ozzie's better on the right. And that's why they're continuing to play him there.
You know, I went back and listened to Ben's interview that took place right before the joint practice, literally minutes before.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, yeah, some people are trying to say that that Ben said he's better on the right side. He didn't say that. He said he's been playing on the right side for the last few years.
He was more comfortable.
So
they asked him if he was
more comfortable there.
Yeah.
Said his feet work better on the right side than his feet work on the left side. What that gets down to is he's still thinking when he's playing on the left side, and you can't have him think. So to answer your question, what I really think is going to happen is when we see live action, you might see him at the right side, but in practice, he's still going to get reps on the left side. In the joint practice, he got reps at left tackle.
Yeah. He's gotten a little bit, but he hasn't gotten as much as he got early in camp.
No.
Early in camp, he was just on the left side. Now he's predominantly on the right side when he gets a few reps at left tackle every practice that I've seen.
And a guy that a lot of fans had counted out that I think is locked up a spot is Ryan Bates.
Ryan Bates, yeah.
Ryan Bates really played well in these 2 games.
So, I mean,
first game he played at guard, the second game he played at center.
Yeah. And if he can play guard and center, he's probably got that swing interior role locked up. I thought Luke Newman played pretty well. He did make a couple mistakes, but he's looked really well so far in my eyes.
Put it this way, it caught Olin's eye.
Yeah. Olin liked it. Hey. And he's going to be learning behind Joe Tooney.
He might have stole one there.
Yeah. And if he's a guy who can learn behind Joe Tooney for a couple of years, maybe we can develop into a starter right there.
No, right? He's a warrior.
Yeah. I liked him. I love him at left guard. And then it comes down to what Braxton's able to do. But the thing they did with Braxton is that they played him limited reps. He played those starter reps. When the starters left, he left. That was my biggest hint that he's the guy right now. And I believe they're probably going to do that again tonight. And if that's the case, if Braxton's the guy who's out there starting, I think Braxton is at least our week 1 starter. And they're maybe hoping one of those other guys can develop behind him, but I think Braxton's going to start the year out. He did make a comment, though, that kind of caught my eye when it came to that. When they asked him about left tackle,
Yeah, I
he
did that.
basically
That was last Friday too. He said it basically,
it
to
might not be done
paraphrase, he
week
said
one.
it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
You could have changes.
Yeah, whoever's the starter week one might not be the starter week 5. So
Right.
it's something that it's something to keep an eye on. So just because he's naming whoever starts his first game, it means they're the guy he thinks the most ready right now. But it doesn't mean they're going to be the guy that's most ready in 4 or 5 weeks. But yeah, that's a good question by J2K. Are we going to carry 5 offensive tackles on this roster? Because
I
Darnell,
think they are there. I don't think who are they going to cut? Who are they going to cut? They aren't cutting the guy who got drafted in the 3rd round last year. It's not happening.
yep. And I don't think they're going to, if Theo unless they try to stash Theo on the practice squad, but
he's played too good though. People see
started
the tape.
first game.
Everybody sees the tape, and you see the tape, and they go, "Wait a minute, this guy's pretty good," because he's played good. And he's played good on both sides.
True, and he's the guy who's probably the favorite to be the swing tackle right now over both Karan Amagaji and Ozzie Trapillo. If it came down
right now, he is. I wouldn't disagree with that.
Yeah. Now, I obviously think Ozzie's going to probably win that job at some point this season, or at least that's the expectation. We want him to take that over, get more comfortable on the left side, but he needs reps there, and that's why I think, to me, it's kind of a mistake if we're not playing him at left tackle tonight. I know we have the left tackle job that we're deciding on, but if Ozzie's the guy we drafted to be the long-term left tackle, I believe we need to get him out there and get him reps on the left side. If he's not comfortable,
I don't disagree with you, but I'm not going to argue with the powers that be.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I'm hoping for tonight.
Like Rochar is working with these guys every day. He knows what's going on in their heads and what they're capable of doing and not capable of doing. Last week, in fact, it was last Thursday, so it was the day before the joint practice. He basically called out Braxton.
Yeah.
He said, well, it was pretty good in the first joint practice, and then when he got in the Miami game, he was terrible. And he goes, I told you can't do that.
Yeah. Can't do that. And you can't. And he also said there were 2 times in the little Ben Johnson clips that were going viral where he was caught saying you can't get beat to the inside. You can't get beat to the inside. And Braxton got beat a couple times to the inside in that Miami game when he looked terrible. I think he looked a little bit better last week. He now obviously was playing against second string. So I think tonight's a huge test. How does Braxton play against the Chiefs starters? How long do they play? And can he look consistent? I think that's the biggest question, because it's not if, he can look good most of his reps, but then he gets beat badly twice, or he gets bull rushed right into Caleb's lap. Those are the things we don't want to see. So I am worried about that the most, the left tackle position.
I'm not going to say I'm worried about it. I have no idea who the starter is going to be.
Yeah. For the regular season?
Yeah.
Or
no
tonight?
Idea.
I think tonight Braxton's going to start again. Last week I
agree with that. I just thought I think depending on what he does may determine whether he's the actual starter next, week 1, which is 2 weeks away.
Yeah. I think his performance tonight is what matters. But I actually expected Theo Benedict to get a surprise start last week. Once they started Braxton, I think that kind of tipped their hand. I think he's going to be the guy for at least the beginning of the season. Maybe they do try to trade him. Maybe not. Maybe they're hoping he can improve and continue his ascension as a good tackle. And then next year, they'd obviously look to hopefully have someone ready to replace him. But this is something that's going to be an open door all season long. On the defensive side of the ball, we've now lost Terrell Smith. Do you think there's any chance that Zay Frazier plays in this game? He returned to practice.
He hasn't had a full practice yet.
Yeah, that's why I don't think so.
I mean, he's been out there one day, and it didn't. And all he was doing was ramp up stuff. He didn't take part in team. He took part in individual. So I don't think, he's going to be a guy they're going to have to waive and put on the practice squad. Being that he missed all of preseason, who's going to claim him?
The one reason I think we might just keep an extra DB or might be able to stash him is because of the DBs that are hurt. If one of those guys goes to the IR, or well, Terrell Smith has already gone to the IR. We got a
Right.
couple guys banged up. If someone like Josh Blackwell has to go to the IR as a PUP, we could probably sneak him on the roster because we are lacking depth right now, a little bit at cornerback. But
Well, they did that last year with Amagaji.
mm-hmm.
They kept an extra offensive lineman in him. And he wasn't, and it wasn't the same situation. Amagaji at least was here. He couldn't practice, but he was here.
Yeah.
And
We
Fraser's
still don't
case
know what's
wasn't
going
even
on.
here.
Yeah, we still don't know the story. Have you heard anything on that or no?
Not a thing.
Not a thing for me either. Yeah, I haven't heard a thing. But then another good question by Dobbsy here. Do we believe that Shamar Turner will play tonight? I do. I think
I do too. I think he's going to play probably a quarter.
He's got in 4 or 5 practices. He got in the full padded practice yesterday. So
he took part.
Wednesday.
He didn't take part in any of the team drills last week, but he took part in like the one-on-ones and stuff.
Yeah, last week. But he got in. So he's been back at practice for roughly a week now. He didn't play against the Bills. I think he does play tonight. I think it's probably one of those things where if he doesn't play early, he'll play the entire second half, and they're going to try to get him some reps.
That could be. You don't want to see him get hurt, but and he's come. It depends. He had an ankle. Depends how the ankle's holding up. I was going to say a quarter. You could be right. He could get a full half in to make sure he gets enough reps.
This good question by J2K. He said, speaking on third round picks, does Zach Pickens make this team?
No.
Man, I did think Pickens played a little bit better against the Dolphins. I actually haven't. I've been busy this week. I didn't get a chance to review the defensive side of the ball, so I didn't see.
Well, the defense last week played good, and I haven't watched them either. But the defense as a whole last week, I mean, they put up the goose egg, man.
Yeah, they did.
The Bills didn't score. They played good.
You got to hope that Pickens had. I saw some flashes against the Dolphins. He was in the backfield a couple of times. He did get a sack.
He got a sack.
Yeah, so I mean, and he was back there a couple of times. So we'll see. We'll see with Pickens. I think him going back to 3 technique as opposed to where he played. He was playing a nose tackle last year. He's back to where he played at college now, and he's learning behind Grady Jarrett. I think he has a chance to make this team. I'll have a 53-man roster come out Sunday or Monday. I think I have Pickens making the team, but he's one of the last guys.
Well, then you're keeping if you're doing that, you're keeping 5 DTs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, could he beat out Chris Williams on the roster?
Well, I didn't have Chris Williams making it either, but like I would say, because Grady Jarrett's going to make it, Billings is going to make it,
Javon's making it,
Javon's going to make it, and Turner's going to make it.
Yeah, but
so that's 4. So if anybody after that, that's a 5th. No, they'd have to keep.
I think so.
9 defensive linemen and maybe 10, and I think they're going to go one heavy on the offensive line myself.
Yeah.
So
we are kind of light at edge, though. I mean,
yeah. Well, guys, I don't think they're hurt bad because we said that earlier. I think that they're dinged up, so you're not going to play them tonight. But if there was something that was serious that was going to hold those guys into the season, hold those guys out into the season, they would have signed somebody this week, and they didn't.
Yeah, good point. Someone asked, what if Caleb has a horrible game tonight? Russell says it's preseason. I don't really care. I mean, I'd like to see him. Obviously, I like the positive signs even in preseason, but you're always.
I don't think about stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't either. But you're hoping for some positive signs. We saw a really good look from the offense last week against the Bills. One of the good things that hasn't been talked about much this week is they got to practice this. They're practicing a short week this week. They practiced it. They took practice kind of like a game day week. This is kind of like a simulated game day week. You're going to come in.
Well, they really had a short week. They really only had one. They had a walkthrough one day, and then like a real light practice one day, and then Wednesday was a heavy day, and they only went an hour and 45 or an hour and 40.
Yeah, it's close to if they play on Sunday and then have a Thursday night game. You get one extra day here, but it's close to that kind of short week here, and then you're going to
Yep.
get to see how they prepare for it. They're going to come out. They get to play against starters. Kansas City Chiefs are one of the best teams in football. I expect this to be fun. Did you know that last week's game was one of the most watched preseason games
I
in the
saw
last
that.
5 years? Yeah. Kind of crazy. They're watching the Bears now. I know there's a lot of Bears fans out there, but you got to imagine some of those weren't Bears fans. They were people rooting for us to fail, because there's a lot of Bears haters out there as well.
Oh, no question. Especially in Green Bay, Minneapolis, and Detroit.
Yeah, and I expect tonight's game to also be extremely high views for a preseason game. You got the starters playing, Mahomes, you got Kelsey, Taylor Swift might even be there. So this is going to be a fun one. I can't wait for this one. Is there anything else you're going to be keeping an eye on tonight? Maybe Austin Booker on the defense?
I don't think Booker's playing.
I don't either, but I'd like to
But
see.
I don't think Booker's. Shamar Turner, if he plays, who's going to be the backup corners tonight? Those types of things. I just want to get through the game. You know, if it was me, I probably wouldn't use the starters. I just want to get through the game and get ready for the season.
Yeah.
I put it this way. I wouldn't even throw the ball in the second half. I'd run that freaking clock all the whole time.
Just run the ball. I do like some of our receivers, though, and especially I don't know if Bajan will play a lot into the second half either. I think this is going to be a thing where the offense plays a couple drives, maybe the first quarter. Bajan is going to come out, probably finish out the first half, and they might give the whole second half to Austin Reed.
I don't know what the other guy's if he's still hurt. I didn't even see if he practiced this week.
But yeah, he doesn't even need any reps anyway. So right. It might be one of those where you get Austin Reed the entire second half and let him get some reps out there. At least that's what I'd like to see. But man, it's awesome, Greg. Football is back. After tonight, we have a couple of weeks until the regular season, but I'm excited, man. I appreciate you joining as always. And any last words or?
No, let's just have a good time today and hope nobody gets hurt. That's the most important thing.
Stay healthy, Bears, and everybody have fun. I'll be back later tonight. Bear down, everybody.
See you later.